The year was 1946. India was on the verge of independence. The Indian national movement had reached its peak, uniting people from all walks of life. The Indian Naval Mutiny took place in this charged atmosphere. It was a testament to the widespread desire for independence. The mutiny started in February 1946. These sailors were deeply affected by the nationalistic fervor. They were acutely aware of the discrimination they faced. The mutiny began as a small-scale protest, but quickly spread across naval establishments. Indian sailors rose up in unison, challenging the British Raj. The mutiny's immediate trigger was the incident aboard HMIS Talwar, a training ship docked in Bombay. On board, Indian sailors were subjected to blatant discrimination, given substandard food and living conditions compared to their British counterparts. One particular incident proved to be the tipping point. The sailors discovered worms in their food, sparking outrage. They refused to eat the substandard rations, an act of defiance met with indifference and hostility from British officers. This only fueled the fire of resentment. The sailors' protest over food was symptomatic of the deep-rooted racism and prejudice that permeated the British Raj. Indian sailors were often subjected to racial slurs and insults, denied opportunities for promotion, and relegated to menial tasks. This systemic discrimination created a sense of frustration and anger. This eventually boiled over into open mutiny. The discrimination extended beyond the mess halls and living quarters. Indian sailors received significantly lower salaries compared to their British counterparts and were denied many benefits and allowances. The living conditions on board the ships were often deplorable, with Indian sailors crammed into cramped and unhygienic spaces. The working conditions were equally harsh, with long hours and little rest. The combination of poor living conditions, discriminatory practices, and unequal treatment created a volatile environment. The Indian sailors were inspired by the sacrifices of countless Indians who had fought for independence. They drew strength from the non-violent resistance of Mahatma Gandhi and the bravery of the Indian National Army led by Subhas Chandra Bose. The arrest of signalman B.C. Dutt proved to be the catalyst that transformed simmering discontent into a full-blown mutiny. Dutt was arrested for writing slogans in support of the Indian National Army on board HMIS Talwar. His arrest sparked outrage among the sailors, who saw it as an attack on their right to freedom of expression. They demanded his immediate release. The refusal of the British authorities to heed their demands further inflamed the situation. The mutiny quickly spread from HMIS Talwar to other ships and naval establishments. The sailors took control of ships and shore establishments, hoisting the Indian tricolour flag. They refused to obey orders from British officers. The mutiny sent shockwaves through the British Raj, demonstrating the extent of discontent within the Indian armed forces. The mutiny lasted for several days and was eventually suppressed by the British authorities. The mutiny had a significant impact on India's struggle for independence, resulting in the deaths of several sailors. Many others were dismissed from service or imprisoned. The mutiny forced the British to acknowledge the sailors' grievances and exposed the fragility of British rule in India. After independence, the Indian government recognized the sacrifices of the mutineers, reinstating them in the Indian Navy. The mutiny highlighted the need for fair wages and better working conditions. It was a testament to the courage and patriotism of the Indian sailors.